Good evening, Penny.
Oh, Richard. What's up? It's been a while since you contacted me directly.
Actually, I'm reaching out because I have a favor to ask.
A favor? What is it?
Well, Jess's birthday is coming up next month, and I thought it would be wonderful if you could join us for the celebration.
Oh, you want me to celebrate with you two? Well, since you're newlyweds, why don't you just celebrate together? You don't need to feel obligated to include me, you know.
No, it's not that at all. I think Jess would be happier if you were there. Besides, now that we're married, I want to celebrate her birthday in a way that's a bit different from how we used to do things when we were dating.
Is that so? Well then, I guess I'll take you up on that offer.
Yes, please do. It'll be great to have you with us. I was also thinking of making it a bit of a surprise for her.
That sounds wonderful. Is there anything I can do to help? I'll gladly lend a hand with whatever you need.
Actually, there is something I was hoping you could help with. I remember your building has a party room available for residents. Do you think you could help arrange to reserve it?
Oh, that's right. There is one, isn't there? Sure, I can make the reservation. I've actually never used it myself, so I'm looking forward to it too.
Wait, you've never used it? With all the facilities your building has? It would be a shame not to make use of everything available. There's even a gym, right?
A gym, sure. But for a grandma like me, the exercise I get from daily shopping is exhausting enough.
Oh, come on, you're not even 60 yet. Age doesn't matter. And if you're interested, I would even show you some workouts. I actually go to the gym regularly myself.
No, you should focus on spending quality time with Jess. Otherwise, she might get annoyed with me for keeping you busy. She might say, "Why are you interfering with my newlywed time?"
I don't think she'd ever say that, but still.
Trust me, she would. I remember when I was newly married, my mother-in-law used to drop by almost every day. It was, challenging, to say the least.
But in this case, you're her actual mother, so I don't think it would bother her at all. And as for me, if it were you, I'd even be happy to have you live with us. I wouldn't mind at all.
Even if I were her real mother, having a family member constantly around can still feel a bit overwhelming. It's hard to relax with someone watching over you all the time, and living together can make things even more complicated.
But with you, I honestly don't think that would be an issue.
Just being able to chat with you like this from time to time is more than enough for me. I'm perfectly content with things as they are, and I appreciate you thinking of me. Oh, by the way, what time should I reserve the party room for?
Jess's birthday falls on a weekday, so could we decide on the exact time a bit later?
Of course, no problem. I'll wait for your message then.
Thank you for everything yesterday, Penny.
Jess's birthday party was a huge success. All the hard work we put in together really paid off, don't you think? And we can't forget the help of her friends who attended as well.
Oh, I apologize for bringing along so many friends without giving you much notice.
It's no trouble at all. As long as Jess and everyone enjoyed themselves, that's what matters.
They were thrilled to get to visit a high-rise condo. They kept saying it was so cool to be there. Thank you again for arranging everything. It's all because of you.
Oh, I didn't do anything special. The condo was something my husband left for us, so really you could say it's all thanks to him, not me.
No, I don't think so. You helped us with the food preparations and all the small details, and I can't tell you how much we appreciate it. But still, I have to say, there's just something so impressive about high-rise condos. The view at night is breathtaking, and it's something people can only dream about.
It's not all benefits, though I don't work, so I'm flexible with my time. But I hear the elevators are packed in the mornings for people heading to work. Plus, in the event of an earthquake, I've heard it can be challenging to evacuate from high-rise buildings.
Maybe, but earthquakes don't happen all the time. I think the positives definitely outweigh the negatives.
I suppose in a way, having this condo gives me peace of mind for my old age. That security is reassuring.
Exactly, and if necessary, you could always sell it later. Having this place means you don't have to worry about the future. But I imagine you don't plan on living here forever, right?
That's right. When I get to a point where I need care, I'm planning to move into a facility.
Actually, Penny, if you'd like, would you consider moving in with us?
What? You mean, live together?
Yes, I'm sure Jess would love to have you living with us. And if we're together, there'd be no need for any kind of external care, don't you think?
Well, you don't need to worry about taking care of me. I have no intention of burdening Jess or you.
It wouldn't be a burden at all. I'd be honored to help you out, and I don't consider it a nuisance whatsoever. Please, let me take care of you.
It would be too awkward for me. Plus, this place isn't spacious enough for a family. It's perfect for a couple or just me alone. It's well suited for that kind of living arrangement.
But it's a 2-bedroom, right?
Yes, but the rooms aren't as separated as you'd think. There's an open connection between spaces that's more suited to a single person or a couple, in my opinion.
I don't think it would be a problem. Actually, I'm really concerned about you living alone. Elderly people on their own, there are so many things that can happen unexpectedly.
Well, we'll deal with things as they come.
Don't say that. It's not realistic. You'd be so much better off living with us, I'm sure of it.
I don't have the best memories of living with family in the past. I lived with my mother-in-law briefly, and although it was fine, we each had our own routines, and I found that it was difficult to adjust.
I'd adjust my routine for you.
What are you saying? Just having you two live happily together is enough for me, you know?
Are you really so set against living with us?
It's not that. Really, I'm fine on my own for now. There's no need to change anything.
You're so stubborn.
Sorry?
I'm offering to look after you in the future. An elderly person shouldn't be so selfish.
Richard, what are you talking about?
If living together bothers you that much, why don't you just move out? That would work for me too.
Wait, are you saying that you want to live here?
Yes, that's what I've been saying all along. There's a high-rise condo here, perfect for a family, but you're refusing to let us live here. Do you realize how hard it is financially for young people these days? If we lived together, we'd have a lot more breathing room financially. Don't you care about helping us?
It's not like you're struggling, right? Besides, both you and Jess are working, and you're able to live comfortably enough, I think.
Why should we have to pay rent somewhere when there's a perfectly good condo here that we could live in? And you're planning to go into a facility eventually, so letting us live here wouldn't hurt you at all. This place will go to Jess eventually anyway, right?
Well, in that case, there's no rush, don't you think? We don't need to live together just yet.
I'm saying it's a waste for an old woman like you to be living in a high-rise condo on her own.
Is that how you've been feeling about this?
I thought when we got married you'd bring up the idea of us all living together, but you never did. I hinted about it repeatedly, but you didn't seem to get it. You're telling me you don't care about your daughter's happiness? You're happy living here alone while you make her struggle with me?
I do care about Jess. I thought that was clear. But living together is a different matter entirely.
So you really plan on keeping this condo to yourself, don't you?
What do you mean, keeping it to myself? This is my home.
But you still have the inheritance that Jess's father left, don't you? So why not let us live here? You can't even make full use of a high-rise condo.
Has Jess told you she wants to live here?
Of course she does. She just wouldn't ask because you're her mother, and she doesn't want to hurt you by saying she wants you to leave. That's why I'm speaking up for her.
Then I'll talk to Jess directly.
Please don't. That's just gonna put her in an awkward position. She won't admit it to you, and if you do ask, I'll leave Jess. I'll divorce her.
What?
Don't interfere, okay? All you need to do is agree to let us live here. Just hand over the keys and everything will be fine.
I can't give you an answer right now. I didn't expect to hear something like this from you, so I need time to think.
I didn't expect you'd be so resistant to the idea either. I thought you were kind, but it's clear now that it was just a facade. That's disappointing. Anyway, don't take too long to decide. I'd like to move in as soon as possible.
Why the rush?
That's none of your concern. I'll expect an answer within a week. Consider carefully what your response will mean for Jess's future. I hope you make the right choice. It's been a week, Penny. I've given you some time to think, so I'm reaching out to hear what you've decided.
So, about that idea of letting you guys move into my high-rise condo, I've thought it over, but honestly, I'm afraid I can't approve it after all. I don't think it's something I can just allow.
So despite everything, you haven't changed your mind, have you? Seems like your answer is the same as before.
That's right. This condo you're asking about, it's something my late husband left for me. It's more than just a place to live. It holds sentimental value. Unless there's some extraordinary reason, I can't just bring myself to let Jess move in without any understanding of the situation, and certainly not without a discussion. I think it's best for you to sit down and have a serious conversation with Jess first.
So are you telling me that it doesn't even matter to you if Jess and I end up divorcing over this issue?
I haven't told Jess anything about this yet. She has no idea about these conversations we've been having.
Well, if you refuse to hand over the condo, then I'll follow through with a divorce. I hope you understand I'm serious about this.
What are you saying? This wasn't part of any of our discussions or understandings. You're changing things entirely.
I've already told you that I want the condo. How many times do I need to repeat myself before it finally gets through to you?
To threaten divorce over something like this, it's really too much, don't you think? You're acting so irrationally right now.
If you truly think it's something so minor, why don't you just hand it over then? Or do you really want to risk your dear daughter going through the pain and struggle of a divorce? You, of all people, should know how much Jess cares about me and how much she wants our marriage to work. Are you really going to ruin the life of your own daughter, who's still in the early, joyful days of her marriage?
Fine, if that's what it takes.
So you finally come around? Does that mean you're going to let us have it?
I'll go through with it, but I am warning you now, don't come crying to me later telling me you regret it.
Regret it? Why would I regret it, you old hag? Just hurry up and do it.
Just so we're clear, I'll be transferring ownership to Jess, not you directly. This doesn't mean that the condo will become your property.
Jess and I are married. I don't need to be listed as the official owner for this to work out fine for me. This'll do just perfectly.
I think that before trying to convince me, it would have been more appropriate to go through your wife, Jess. You're married to her, after all. Don't you find it strange that you didn't even bother to bring her into this conversation? Shouldn't she be the one asking for these things, not you?
The thing is, Jess would find it uncomfortable to come to you with this kind of request, so I'm handling it for her. Don't make me say the same thing over and over again. Unless, is this a sign that you're starting to lose your memory? Could it be that old age is catching up with you faster than you realize?
All right, I've heard quite enough of this nonsense. If that's how it has to be, then I will transfer the condo to Jess. But in exchange, I have one single request. From now on, I don't want you to involve me in anything else, ever again.
Fine, whatever. Just make sure you explain things to Jess in a way that doesn't cast me as the bad guy. If you twist things around and make me look like the villain in her eyes, I'll proceed with the divorce immediately. If you truly want to protect your daughter's happiness, then I'd advise you to follow my instructions exactly as I've laid them out. Penny, what in the world have you done to me? How could you betray me like this after everything?
Richard, weren't we clear on this? We had an agreement, remember? You promised not to involve me anymore, didn't you?
That doesn't matter anymore. I've had enough. And you still haven't transferred the condo to Jess, right? You promised her, and now you're backing out.
We never set a date for transferring it, remember? You're being unreasonable, as usual. We never had a firm agreement on when it was to happen.
How selfish can you be? I've just been hit with a divorce from Jess. Do you have any idea what that means? And you, don't try to pretend you didn't tell her everything about me. You told her, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I told her. Why wouldn't I? She had a right to know the truth.
This is outrageous! You're ruining your own daughter's life! Do you even care about her happiness?
Of course I care about Jess's happiness, and that's exactly why I told her everything. I'm not going to let you manipulate her and ruin her future for your own selfish reasons. Why are you acting so surprised? You really thought I wouldn't take action after seeing what you were doing?
So you don't care if Jess ends up with a divorce on her record? Is that what you're saying?
If she needs to divorce you in order to protect herself and her future, then yes, I am fully supportive of that. You're the one who put her in this position, not me. If divorce is what she needs, then that's what I'll stand by. The fact is, you're the one who's falling apart right now, not her.
I'm not falling apart! Don't you dare say that!
Then why are you texting me? If you're not in crisis, why would you come to me for help? It doesn't make sense.
I loved Jess. I really did, and now look what's happening. This is all happening because of you and your interference. I had my reasons for what I did, but you just couldn't mind your own business.
You had reasons? Oh, I'm sure you do. What are you talking about? Is this about the debt you racked up?
What? What do you mean by that?
I'm not stupid, Richard. I figured it out. Your behavior was suspicious, and I looked into it. You've been hiding things from Jess for a while now, and I could tell you were hiding something big. Why do you think I'm still upset? You weren't being honest with her, and that's something I can't let slide.
Then why didn't you just help me out if you knew? You could have been a little more understanding. I really need help. I'm drowning here.
Help you? You're the one who got yourself into this mess through gambling and reckless spending. You didn't think about anyone else while you were spending Jess's inheritance and making bad choices, and now you want me to bail you out?
I was gonna pay it back. I never meant for it to get this bad.
Really? Because Jess told me that her account balance was $10,000 less than it should have been. Don't you see? This isn't just about a mistake. This is about your refusal to be honest. You didn't talk to anyone. You didn't try to fix it. You just kept hiding it, hoping no one would find out.
I couldn't tell her. I just couldn't. It was too hard.
You couldn't tell her the truth because you knew it would hurt her. But by not telling her, you hurt her even more. Don't you get it? If you wanted to protect Jess, the first step would have been to come clean. Instead, you thought you could hide it and keep going. Well, look where that got you.
If you had just agreed to give us the condo, this never would have happened. Why are you being so greedy, Penny, you selfish old woman?
Enough. I am not going to stand here and let you call me greedy. You're the one who used up all your wife's savings without a second thought. You're the one who tried to take my condo without asking, without even considering how it would affect anyone else. You want to talk about greed? Look at yourself. You got yourself into debt, and now you're trying to drag everyone else into your mess.
That's not fair. I thought you understood. If there's a reason to help someone, it's when they're in trouble. Why can't you see that I'm in trouble? I'm desperate, Penny.
Desperate? You think that's an excuse for everything you've done? I have no obligation to help you, Richard. If anyone needs to help you, it's your wife, Jess. She's the one who's been directly affected by your actions. She's the one who has to deal with the aftermath of your mess.
Then please, Penny, I'm begging you, talk to Jess for me. Tell her I'm sorry. Tell her I was wrong. I was careless and I know I hurt her, but I love her. I can't live without her. I'll do anything. Just give me a chance to fix things.
Why should I help you fix anything? You've done enough damage already. I don't trust anything you say anymore, Richard. Your words don't mean anything to me.
But I mean it! I really do! I want to change. I'll do whatever it takes. I meant it when I said I wanted to live together as a family. I trusted you, Penny. I thought we could work together.
Work together? You want me to believe that after everything you've done? You want me to trust you again? You can forget that. You can keep telling yourself that you've learned something, but the truth is you'll never change. Not without serious effort, and even then, I'm not sure it's enough.
Please, Penny! I need you to help me. I don't know what to do anymore. I just want Jess back.
And what makes you think you deserve her back? After all this, you still think you can just get everything back to normal? You think that's how this works?
I don't know what else to do. I really love Jess. I'm not perfect, I know that, but I don't want to lose her. I can't lose her.
You should have thought about that before you put her through all of this. Now it's too late. You're going to have to face the consequences, and so is she. But if you really care, you should have put her needs first a long time ago.
Please, Penny, I just need one more chance, please.
One more chance? You had all the chances you needed, Richard. But you blew it. Now you're going to have to deal with the fallout. You can't expect anyone to fix this but you.
I understand. I'm sorry. I didn't know how to fix things.
Well, it's too late for apologies. And as for Jess, you're going to have to figure it out on your own. I'm done trying to fix your mess. After that, my son-in-law Richard ended up divorcing my daughter, and he found himself left to shoulder the burdens of his debt alone. It wasn't a surprise to me, though I felt a certain level of sadness for what had transpired. I had seen the cracks in their relationship for a long time, but I had hoped things might improve. Unfortunately, reality had a different plan. I had always wished that they would work things out, and when they got married, I truly hoped that Richard would be the kind of husband my daughter deserved. However, that wasn't the reality. From what I've heard and gathered over the course of the months, Richard had developed a troubling addiction to online casinos and hostess clubs. His gambling spiraled out of control, and as a result, he accumulated a massive debt, somewhere around $30,000. I didn't know the full extent of it until later, but by that time, the damage had already been done. It wasn't a figure to be taken lightly, and as much as he tried to apologize, it was clear that both my daughter and I were no longer in a place where we could forgive him. I had seen how destructive his habits were. It wasn't just the money. It was the trust he had broken, the lies, and the emotional toll it took on my daughter. Richard, for all his flaws, still came to us on several occasions to apologize, seeking some form of redemption or at least a chance to rebuild his relationship with my daughter. He had failed, and his apologies felt empty. I watched my daughter grow more and more distant each time, and each of his apologies only seemed to widen the gap between them. My daughter had tried to make it work for a while, but as the years went by, she started to see him for who he truly was. When you're married to someone, it's not always clear to the people around you what the marriage really looks like behind closed doors. The cracks are often hidden, and the issues that build up over time aren't easily visible to others. But my daughter could no longer ignore them. Over time, she began noticing Richard's behavior more and more. His late nights became frequent, and he would sometimes disappear without explanation, his phone constantly on silent. It raised more than a few red flags, and there were times when they argued heatedly about it. My daughter was no longer the carefree young woman she had been when they first got married. She was becoming more anxious and suspicious of him, and who could blame her? She had every right to be concerned. Richard's actions weren't just a betrayal of trust. They were a clear sign of his lack of respect for her, for their marriage, and for their future. At first, my daughter struggled to talk to me about it. She didn't want to burden me with her problems, and I understood that. But as things escalated, she could no longer keep it all to herself. I could tell by the look in her eyes that something was wrong. When she finally opened up to me, I saw the pain in her heart. She had tried to make sense of Richard's behavior for a long time, but nothing seemed to add up. It was heartbreaking to watch. I knew this wasn't the future she had imagined for herself when they first got married. This wasn't the life she had dreamed of. One day my daughter came to me, frustrated and upset. She had just had another argument with him, and she wanted some advice. It was hard to watch her go through this, knowing how deeply she cared for him and how much she had invested in their life together. But at the same time, it was clear to me that she was slowly realizing that she deserved so much more than this. She deserved someone who could be a true partner to her, someone who would love and respect her. Richard was failing her on both fronts. I could see how tired she was, emotionally and mentally. It wasn't just the gambling, it was the lack of communication, the dishonesty, and the emotional distance that had formed between them. To be honest, though, there were moments when I questioned myself as well. There was a part of me that wondered if I had somehow contributed to this situation. If I hadn't been living in the tower apartment, if I had agreed to move in with them, would things have turned out differently? There were times when I felt guilty for not offering to help them more, but in my heart I knew that my daughter needed to figure things out on her own. She had to face the reality of her situation, no matter how painful it might have been. I couldn't keep enabling a toxic relationship, even if I wanted to protect her from hurt. When my daughter eventually decided to file for divorce, I wasn't surprised, though I felt sorrow for the end of their marriage. It wasn't that I didn't understand why she was doing it. It simply was hard to accept that the person she had once loved so deeply had become someone unrecognizable to her. It was a painful process, but in the end, it was the only option for her well-being. Staying in a relationship like that would have been even worse. She had tried everything she could, and she had reached a point where she had to choose herself. Her mental and emotional health were more important than anything else. Richard's debt, his addiction, and his betrayal weren't things that could simply be forgiven with an apology. Those were real consequences of his actions, and my daughter had to make a choice. And she chose herself. She chose her own happiness over the promises and dreams they had once shared. I respected that decision, though I knew it wasn't easy for her. There's a lot of emotional weight that comes with ending a marriage, even when you know it's the right thing to do. The thought of the future she had imagined with Richard was gone, replaced with uncertainty and heartache. But it was a future that wasn't built on solid ground anyway. She had to let go of that future and begin building a new one. After the divorce, my daughter moved in with me for a while. It wasn't ideal, but it was temporary. She needed time to heal, and I was more than happy to offer her a place to stay. She moved into my tower apartment, which had plenty of space for her to have her privacy. She wasn't used to relying on anyone for support, but she had to allow herself some time to breathe. I could see the pain in her eyes, but I could also see the determination in them. She wasn't going to let this define her. She was strong, and I knew she would bounce back. A few months later, though, my daughter told me that it was time for her to move out. She felt it was important to stand on her own again. I wasn't surprised. She's always been fiercely independent, and I knew that she wouldn't want to be in a situation where she was relying on me forever. But there was a part of me that didn't want to see her leave. I was worried about her. Still, I respected her decision. She had always been so capable, and I knew that she would make it on her own. She had learned a lot from this experience, and I had faith that she would find her way. Since moving out, my daughter has continued to impress me with her strength and resilience. I have no doubt that she will find happiness again. I hope she meets someone who truly understands her, someone who will treat her with the respect and love she deserves. But even if she doesn't, I know she'll be okay. She's already found happiness in herself, and that's more important than anything else. If she ever finds herself struggling again, I'll be there for her, just as I always have been. I've made sure that she knows she can count on me no matter what. I may not be able to solve all her problems, but I will always be there to listen and offer advice when she needs it. My role as her mother is to support her, even if that means stepping back and letting her make her own decisions. I've come to realize that sometimes the best thing you can do for your child is to let them go, to let them figure things out on their own. It's not easy to do, but it's necessary. My daughter is capable of handling whatever life throws at her. She's been through a lot, but she's come out on the other side stronger. I'm proud of her for that. She's learned valuable lessons, and I know she'll continue to grow and learn as time goes on. As for Richard, I'm not sure what's in store for him. He made his own choices, and now he has to live with the consequences. I don't know if he'll ever understand the damage he caused, but that's not my concern anymore. What matters is that my daughter is free from him, free to live her life without the weight of his mistakes dragging her down. She deserves the freedom to explore life and love on her own terms. In the end, what matters most is that my daughter has learned how to take care of herself. She's learned how to value herself and what she deserves, and that, more than anything, is the greatest gift I could give her. I've watched her grow, and I couldn't be more proud of the woman she's become. She's learned from her past, and she's ready for whatever the future holds. I know she'll find happiness one way or another. She's strong, and she's not afraid to stand up for herself. I have every faith in her. I'll continue to support her in any way I can, but I'll also let her go, let her live her own life, and let her find her own happiness. And if she ever needs me, I'll be there, no matter what.
Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.